Welcome back to.
Said inside, I know you were dying.
Welcome back to another episode of Reality Check, man. Bow.
Boom. If you're new, I'm VT Vaughn Taylor, and this is
Cedric, and we have the lovely hairdresser over there, Marissa.
she's getting me right.
All right, so our topic today is. So I saw a video that basically was saying a lot of people have problems when they get into romantic relationships and things of that nature because you get into a situation where people are saying I love you, but you haven't asked what they mean by that. You may be operating on different definitions of the word love. And then you get into problems because somebody has their own definition of what love is. So then their responsibilities are going to be wrapped up in that definition, and then you have your own expectations of what they should be doing based on your definition of the word love, and so all this conflict.
Right.
So that's the topic. The way that the video said that, they're like, oh, you have to ask them what they mean by that. And then these guys raised
What you mean by
a great point. They were like, okay, but wouldn't it sound dumb if in the moment somebody's like, oh my god, I love you, and they're like,
what you mean
hold
by
on,
that?
what you mean what you mean by that?
What you mean
Wait.
you love me?
Hold on, wait, how much though?
How much do you love me though?
You would have to have that discussion previously.
Right. It wouldn't be a case where it's like you're in action, cameras running, and you're like, I love you. What do you mean by love?
Yeah, that's
You could.
Yeah, you could.
But it's more of like, let's pause,
Yeah.
have this discussion type thing.
Yeah. I agree with what she was saying, but specifically you would have to, like, if you're talking to somebody, those types of conversations, you need to try to bring those up before you get into anything serious.
Yes.
Is what I would say. Like ask, okay, what do you think, like, what is your definition of love? Like, what do you think, like, what values do you have? What like, based on, if you love a person, what do you think you would do? You know what I'm saying? Like, how far would you go? Like those.
I feel like dating or like the talking phase even kind of gets glamorized. I mean, I feel like it does and it doesn't. I feel like it's changing a bit, especially because these days people are like, hey, look, I don't have no time to be wasting. I feel like it's shifted a little bit. The dating like playground, if you will, for lack of a better term, has shifted. And I feel like people are more serious about it these days. I could be so wrong about this. But,
I mean,
but drop it in the comments. I'm not in the dating scene like that, but it's very interesting because I feel like the atmosphere is geared towards I'm actually trying to find my person.
Yeah.
But like, how is that being done though?
Facts. See, okay, my biggest pet peeve is when people say, oh, I'm looking for the one, and then they list off all these beautiful, very, altruistic and very noble qualities that they want in this person, and then they go look in the streets for this person. Like, what do you mean, bro?
Bro, that is a very good point.
Like, why would you go there to find this person that you just described to me? You want I value loyalty, and you going in the streets to go find this person. Really? You think you go find a loyal person who their dating history is mad,
bro.
Like, and I'm not saying that to say like your past
doesn't your past doesn't dictate who you are.
Yeah. I'm not saying that you should judge a book by its cover, but I am saying that you can get a pretty good sense of what the book is about by the table of contents.
My goodness.
That's bars.
My goodness. Wow.
That's almost.
So, jeez. I'm going to just let that sit for a bit. I'm going to just let that sit. I'm going to drink a whole bottle of water and I'm going to let that sit for a bit. Because that was,
we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Like, for example, I heard this said once, like, instead of going to look in places where you'll find a lot of potential partners, find what you love to do. And in the spaces where you love to do these things you enjoy, say, for example, you love pottery. And you go to a pottery class and you eventually meet somebody at a pottery class. Boom. And then you can kind of go from there. But like, you're actually doing something that you love to do. You're recharging yourself. You're seeing if maybe this person also likes to do the other things that you like to do because there's one interest or direction that you met at. And there's this like convergence of common ground versus like I'm just trying to scope out this scene and everybody in the building is trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. Let me instigate that real quick though. Let me be an instigator.
Okay, I'll run that.
Let me be an instigator because I agree, but it could be argued that okay, if you are putting all this importance on meeting people in a space that you already like. So obviously you're going to already have things in common and rah, 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 rah. I feel like if you place too much importance on that, then you're almost placing a lot of importance on having commonalities and similarities and having a lot of importance on like how compatible are we right now because of our likes right now.
Right.
Which means if I meet you at a pottery class and we're clicking because we both like pottery and maybe we have a couple other similarities, and then 2 years down the line, I no longer like pottery anymore, does that mean that we got to break up? No. But that's only if you understand that like you're not intertwined because of the things that you like.
Right. And I appreciate that because, yeah, you don't want to base it on the similarities, but for a partner to have a strong foundation, it's nice to at least have some level of like, okay, I'm doing this thing. You're also doing this thing. You also like this thing. And typically, most people meet on some level of common ground.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, you're attractive to me, you think I'm attractive, and then there's like a level of conversation that happens where it's like, oh, the way we communicate, the way that it's reciprocate, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And as we said in a previous podcast, people change. And that's not a bad thing. I feel like our perception going into relationships is that the person that we fell in love with or fall in love with or love or like or enjoy their company has to be the exact same person throughout the entire relationship. And that's a fallacy because that's also stagnation. So it's like you got to pick and choose like, okay, is pottery and the love of pottery and the act of doing and practicing pottery important to the foundation of the relationship, or was pottery a spark to then learn about this person and the rest of the beautiful qualities that they have and possess intrinsically that actually correlate to where I want to go?
Yes.
And can we work together? So yeah, thanks for providing that, because I think with a little bit of context, it moves from similarity with the right approach and mindset for longevity. What's your take on that, Marissa?
I agree, and I think that we expect, like, if you expect someone in your relationship to be the same throughout the entire relationship, then okay, but keep the same energy with yourself. You can't change either.
That's facts.
And people are always changing, and they're always like, oh, like, I'm trying to be a better me, I'm trying to get all these habits and stuff, but then when their partner changes, they're like, hey, wait a minute, this is what I signed up for.
Facts.
But like you didn't, like, for someone to stay the same, you're basically dating like an image, if that makes sense. Like, you're dating someone who you want to be the same always, which is not realistic because, like you said, we're fluid.
Right. So how would you describe the way, and this is for all of us, but like how would you describe the way that you would like to be loved, but also give love or reciprocate love? What does, I'll put it like this. What does love mean to you? It's a very broad question, but it comes back to the video. Like, if you were to define it, what is that?
I think for me, it's something that's like kind of hard to put into words. And I think that's when I know that it's love.
Dang.
If that makes sense. Like, it's just a feeling that I have and like a knowing. And I don't know, I think once you kind of have that and you start to feel that for someone, like, I think love is more powerful than words. So that's like definitely a part of it. But I think you can also love someone, but maybe being with them is not healthy.
Oh yeah. So, you can love somebody and not like them.
Exactly. Or you can love someone but the relationship isn't good.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. So I think it's being able to distinguish, like, okay, I love this person, but is this a relationship that is gonna be good for both of us?
Yeah.
And I think so many people are like, oh, I love this person, therefore I'm gonna date this person because I love them. But instead of actually looking at, like, okay, like, you love this person, but
does it make sense?
And is it a good love?
Yeah.
Is it a good love? Interesting.
I think for me, I know if it's love when I can visualize what I would do for this person. So if I can envision myself in certain very private, very sacred moments, if I can envision myself with said person and it doesn't bother me, love. Or if I can envision myself, like if I'm like, oh yeah, I would die for this person. You know what I'm saying? If I would.
Because logically, that's not necessarily you.
Yeah. But like, and it's also like, I am also a person who believes that love is a choice.
Yes.
Because when you love somebody, it means that you go and do a lot of things for this person, even when you don't feel like doing it. So your love overrides your emotions in those circumstances. So for me, when I can imagine like, oh yeah, like if stuff hit the fan, I would still be like standing on 10, even if I'm like not feeling like it, I would definitely like be there. Love.
I feel what you feel in the choice of love, and I feel like deciding or making the decision or like having the thought of like I choose this person as a thought in and of itself is an evolution of like love, because like we go through stages of love. Like there's like the puppy dog phase, and then there's like the like first, you know, young love, or like first like real romantic or real mature love. Yeah. And I feel like all those different types of love allow us to be like identify someone or a partner that's like, no, but like I choose this type of environment to be in. I choose this love to be in. I choose this person.
Bro, let me drop something real quick and let me get your takes on this, because I also think that there's certain, as you said, evolutions of love that are not majority love. And what I mean by that is there's certain phases of love where you are also reacting to the atmosphere of, oh yeah, I'm in a relationship. So if you're a person that really enjoys affection, holding hands, rah, 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 PDA, rah, 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 like the majority of the emotions that you feel is not love. It's just you
being able to express what you want to express,
or enjoying the person giving you affection. Let's even say you love this person. So love is actually in the equation, but it's not really the love though.
And it's almost like you love the relationship, not the person.
Yes. And there's a lot of that.
Yes.
And there's a lot of, I like what this relationship is doing for me.
Right.
Even let's say I like what this person is doing for me, but it's not, oh, I like this person because they are who they are.
That's it.
But I think it could be a combination.
No, but that's what I was saying. It's almost like there's different ratios. So in the beginning, the puppy love is probably 50-50. It's like 50% love and 50% all the new shiny things that is a ramification of you being in a relationship with the person you love.
And I bet you that's why people are like, oh, the honeymoon phase, and after the honeymoon phase, things get harder for some, is because when all of that newness wears away, they start to see the person for who they are.
Yes.
Actually, I don't really like this person.
Or it goes into the whole like, okay, you made a commitment to this person, but then, you know, if stuff hits the fan and now the situation isn't ideal, do you run away?
Right. Do you still choose
that
person?
And I think a lot of people, if their immediate reaction is to run away, that is an indication that you were probably in love with the situation, not the person.
Right. Yeah, I feel like every relationship, just based on like my own experience of what I've heard from like married couples that's been together for like years, they say, it gets hard. But it's like through the choice of like choosing the person, they work through that and get to the other side of the honeymoon phase, for example. Like there's a period of time where that needs to happen, but there's also a period of time where, as Marissa, you're saying, like that the hard part needs to also happen. So you need to test to see, okay, can I get to the other side of that, and then get to a phase where it's like, based on the communication of the hard time that we got through, we're now in a new level or a new stage of love, of understanding each other, of complimenting each other, not because we don't know each other as well, but because we know each other so much more.
Yes. And you know what it is? I feel like the relationships who get through that and do well, and when the puppy dog phase ends, they're still strong. I feel like those people are people who, when they were in the puppy dog phase, it wasn't 50-50. Like it wasn't 50% love and 50% shiny stuff. It was, they were 100% in love, and then the shiny stuff was an added bonus. So now when the added bonus stuff wears off, it's like, okay, that's gone, but I still know that I choose this person because of them.
Yes.
So now you're still good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you were in a situation where it was 50-50 and 50% wears off, that's tough.
That is tough.
And what do you mean by the shiny stuff though? Because I think sometimes people can maybe like someone a lot, right? And then if what I'm thinking of as shiny stuff is the same as what you're thinking of, like that person is what brings the shiny stuff. Do you know what I mean? And then it never wears off. So I'm just curious, like, what do you mean by like shiny stuff?
By shiny stuff, I just mean like the novelty of being in a relationship. Because like, okay, let's say something as basic as just, you know, like physical affection, right? You're a person who, you know, I love hugs and rah rah rah. I'm not saying that after the puppy dog phase ends that's going to go away, but after the puppy dog phase ends, it's just an indication that like, oh, this is regular now. Like it's not new. Like it doesn't give me hee because this is new. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I still
you adjust to it almost.
Yeah, like it's like it's still needed and it feels good, but it's not like a shiny new TV. Like it's like I buy a new TV, 5 years down the line, I'm still experiencing the benefits of this TV, and it's still nice and I still appreciate it, and I don't say need because it's a TV, but like I still, you know, it's a thing that I would want to continue to have, but it's not the, oh my God, I got a new TV.
Right. Like that initial excitement is.
Yeah. And the reason I think that a lot of people get wrapped up in puppy dog phase is because there's constantly new shiny TVs that are popping up. Especially like when you talk about, okay, newlyweds, like there's all of these new firsts that you're experiencing. Right. Okay, first house, first rah. Right. And then, you know, so it's like you're experiencing, oh, shiny TV. And then once you get to a position in your relationship where now most of that goes away. Like most of that, like, and people will say, oh, like the way that you maintain a relationship is you need to maintain the spark. So you guys got to find new things to make it fresh. Yeah. Right. And I think there is a place for that. But I also think that just make sure that it's not a 50-50 thing.
You know what? I just thought about, as you said that, because it reminded me of Jay Shetty when he would say like something similar along the lines of like finding things to do together. Yeah. That are new. Yeah. For both parties. Yeah. And imagine a world or a situation where you have the capacity to do everything humanly possible and you've done them together. Would you still want to be with that person?
That's what I'm saying. Because I'm saying like there is space and importance to like make it fresh and make sure it's not like stagnant and make sure that you're doing new stuff. But that is facts. Like what happens if you've done everything, or what happens if, okay, let me ask a question to both of y'all. What happens if you're in a relationship, long ass relationship, and one person wants to stop doing new stuff? Is that a sign of, oh, this person doesn't want to grow, so I got a piece?
Well, I think first of all, you have to be like, well, why?
True.
Like, is there some reason?
But just theoretically though.
I mean, I don't think so. Like, I think that, like, really it is, who is this person?
Right.
Or, sorry, am I saying sense?
Yeah, who is the person that you're with?
Yeah, because, like, why do you love that person?
I think growth and wanting to do new things are different.
Facts.
Like, someone that's, like, choosing to grow or stopping to grow is different from someone that's wanting to try new things. Because someone could be fully content in the things that you've tried, and it's like, why fix something that's broken? Like I like the things that we've been doing. I like everything that's going on. I think that like adding new things would just kind of like dilute the satiation of what's going on right now. And that's a valid point. I mean, if that's how you feel, let's keep it rocking. But if it's a growth thing, then it's like, is growth that important to you where you can't do it? Or you can do it with the person while still being in the relationship, and they're like doing their own thing, and you can continue to grow. Is that something that you can handle? Because growth is a very interesting thing, and I feel like it's a little bit different from trying new things. And what I mean by that is, if someone doesn't want to try new things, that's okay. Like maybe you go out with the guys or you go with the girls, and you might try new things with your friends, or maybe not with your partner. Granted that they're okay with what you're doing, but then growth is one of those things that it's an adhesive, so it eventually kind of rubs off when you're around someone who's like continuously trying to grow, regardless of if you're like, I don't want to.
You know what's interesting about growth too is that I feel like there's so much talk of oh, I'm on my path for growth and I can't be around people who are not going to grow with me and rah, rah, rah. And I believe that to a certain extent.
Yes. Because the environment is important.
It is important. It is important. And you need people who are willing to grow with you.
Yes.
You do. But I do have a small sentiment of if you plant a tree in grass and the tree shoots up past the grass's height, everyone's immediate reaction is going to be like, oh, see, the tree didn't belong with the grass. It's way up there by itself because it outgrew the grass. Brody, the tree and the grass is still in the same field. Like it's possible for y'all to exist together, and it's you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like y'all don't, like there's certain relationships and certain situations where you don't have to be at the same level.
That's true.
Like you don't need to be.
No.
The other point is still valid though. Like you do also need to be able to grow with each other. So
I guess
it's an interesting.
Where is the line between like this person supports me, this person is rocking with me, they're willing to grow, but the level disparity is so vast that like the understanding for the level that each other are on is not understood. Like where do you fall in that based on what you're saying?
See, that's an interesting one, because if we're talking about understanding, then there's an argument to be had about, are you just a bad communicator?
Fair.
And there is also an argument to be had about, if we're talking about understanding, what if you guys are both very intelligent but in different fields, and the understanding isn't there when you're talking about the other person's field, but together, you know, when we're talking about complementary partnerships, somebody has a strength with a weakness, the other person has an opposite strength and a weakness, together is a powerhouse.
Yes.
Mitochondria. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'm just thinking of that Rihanna meme now.
yeah.
You seen that one?
I think I've seen it a long time ago.
It was like somebody said Rihanna's such a powerhouse, and then the caption, MitochondRIhanna.
Yo, the internet is undefeated.
Yeah,
I have seen that one. Yeah, but I agree. It definitely could be a communication issue, especially if it's like explaining what the needs are based on the level that you're at. Because what someone may need in the weakness, and he said it's the opposite, and the strengths and vice versa, could just be, hey, this is what I need supported with in this area. This is what I need supported with. Because a powerhouse can't be a powerhouse unless you understand where the deficits are to support.
Yes.
So for a well-oiled machine to be a well-oiled machine, for example, a piston goes through
Something.
Let me back it up. A yo-yo, right? A yo-yo is nothing without the string, yeah? No,
Great analogy. Great analogy.
a yo-yo is nothing without the string.
Yes.
But the string is also nothing without the bearing, as well as the size to hold that has surround the bearing, the sides.
Yes.
So the weakness of both those items is what the other has to be able to support a yo-yo.
Yes.
So again, the community, I think you have a very fair point. If it's an understanding issue, or if the purpose is understanding, then communication is that much more important, to be like, this is what I need to be supported so that we as a unit can be stronger.
Yes.
Because I feel like some people's like can get into a place where it's like me against you, but it's really, how can we come together to tackle every single issue that comes against a relationship?
Bro, and you know what's crazy about that? We were talking about this the other day, and we were saying it's interesting how there's certain people who they're so used to the way that they do things and the way that they see the world and their own views and such and such and such, that they almost can't see that other people have a strength that they're not good at. And it's almost like narcissism in a way, where it's like they are so, let's say they're very intelligent or whatever. I feel like intelligent people have a pothole that a lot of them fall into, where they look at emotional people and empathetic people and look down upon them.
Yes.
And not down upon them as in like they're bad people, but they think that the way that they do things is superior to the way they do things, not understanding that if you were to work with them, it would be better.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very astute observation.
And it's just interesting that there's a lot of different personalities, not just intellectual people, but a lot of different personalities where it's almost like it's hard for them to fathom that there's different ways of doing things. It's hard for them to fathom that there might be a different way of doing something that might be better in that situation, doing it a different way.
Or there might be like another thing that could do just as well as what they're saying in that situation.
Equally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that either way is bad or good. Like you're still getting the end goal the same.
Right.
But I think, and you know, the downfall with those people is that they can't see other people's perspectives. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how smart you are. If you can't work with other people, you're alone. And as society, like we need all of these different facets to function. And our communities, like with our friends and families, are like the same. So I don't think that anything is necessarily better or worse. We just, as a society, view things more highly than other things.
I think that's a really interesting point, because in coming back to love and defining that for yourself, I think one has to identify humility.
Yes.
Because a lot of what we just talked about is seeing oneself and allowing another perspective, another view, another person, and collaborating versus clashing. And it's hard to do when ego is involved. It's hard to do when there's like the context of the relationship and the day-to-day and like whatever. But I think it's very important to first start from a place of humility and approach it from a space that's like, this is where I am. I'm not sure where you are. I don't want to assume what your thoughts and patterns are, but this is where I am. This is how I'm feeling. Where are you? And allow the space to be created for genuine conversation. Because I think if we really truly understand how our partners love or express love or want to be loved, or even just think in general, we're able to then love them in a way where the reciprocation that we're looking for is just automatic. And so humbling ourselves is, at least from what I'm hearing, a lot of the segment here is like, that's a really good first step. And being like, okay, like how do you love? But then also opening the space and being vulnerable, being like, this is how I love. This is how I've been loved in the past. Whether it be family,
that is
up.
A huge point, bro.
And because, or lack thereof, and that will influence and give you so much to be like, oh, I now understand your view. I now understand where you're coming from. I now understand. Okay, I can love you that way. You know what I'm saying?
And I think also respecting that the way that you receive love is not the way that you need to give love to certain people.
I find it interesting how too, like when you realize that love is almost like a history lesson that you have to take on the other person.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because I saw a video, people kind of took it out of context, but I saw a video where this guy was like, the moment that I was able to love my girl better is when I realized that I was also loving her. And he pointed to like a younger picture of her, like a kid version of her.
Oh my.
So it was like all those versions? All those versions of the person, all the traumas that they've experienced, all the experiences, good or bad, those all still reside in the polished version of who you see standing in front of you. Yes. And as much as they got stuff together, as much as they've overcome the insecurities, even if the insecurities are not there thanks to crazy therapy or whatever it is, there are still elements of different things lurking inside of them that you have to handle with care.
Yes. And I think once we realize that our own awareness and how we approach growth isn't necessarily how everyone approaches their own growth.
Yes.
And also recognizing that even though they may seem polished and this and this and this, is because they have more awareness of themselves. It's not that they're perfect, but they're aware and able to manage the pop-ups that they may still feel, but it's not coming out because they have the awareness around it and have dealt with the things in their past to be able to be a healed person and present themselves in a way where it's like it's them, but they're aware to a point where they've grown to a point where they've dealt with their stuff and are able to move from that in a way they've become an evolved version of that young girl or young boy.
All right, man.
Wow.
That was
Thank
deep.
y'all. I hope y'all are blessed too. This hair is, I can feel it. I can feel it coming together.
You feel the tightness?
I can feel the tightness for real.
All right, man.
One love.
Subscribe,
Let us
like
know
up the videos, them.
Let us know what you thought about this one. If there's anything that stood out to you or
Make sure you go down in the comments and give us new topics to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Go into our Instagram, go over there and go into our DMs, man.
just to remind y'all, this is a safe space, yeah?
Reality check gets the
Check.